I admit my bias. I'm a huge fan of our community colleges, and I am impressed by the chancellor, who was up at White Mountain Community College, and the caliber of people that they've had lead these institutions. The late Paul Holloway had a good vision there. Yeah. So thank you for being our student. How's it going for you there? And a busy day for you to, I know your son's with you. You got the President of the United States visiting, and forget politics for a minute. As I said to your son earlier, that's pretty cool no matter what.
Yeah, it's a great day for New Hampshire, right? So anytime that you can get the President of the United States on site here in Concord, our capital city, and I think it's notable, Jack, that he's showing up at a community college. You said you're a huge fan of community colleges, and somebody was asking me this just the other day. 30 years ago, you couldn't get a President of the United States to come to a community college, and now you can't keep them away. And the reason is because they know that's where the development of the economy and the workforce is occurring.
And, you know, just a few weeks from now, I can't believe it, you know, a huge event at your campus, bringing back the trades. Mike Rowe's going to be there, about 80 business and companies that build things, create things, fix things, bringing back the trades. If anything epitomizes the mission you have at community college, it's that kind of event. That's going to be, I want to come back to it, but that's going to be a little bit big that day. We're going to be there live doing my show. It's huge.
Yeah, we're so glad that you're going to join us on that day. It's going to be massive. We're expecting hundreds of people. I want to shout out to ProCon and the other sponsors.
Amanda Grapponi-Osmer. What a brainchild.
Amanda Grapponi-Osmer.
When she first came to me with this, she talked about it, I go, wow, you're really going to do this?
Yeah, and what they recognize, and Amanda knows this as well as anybody being an auto dealer, is we need skilled trades folks. We need folks who can fix cars, and we need, you know how it is, Jack, if you need an electrician, you have trouble getting them to come to your house because there's just not enough of them. But also nurses and engineers and, you know, any of the skilled trades. And so the Trade-A-Palooza, which is what we're calling that, bring back the trades, we're going to bring together employers and higher education and K-12 and a lot of high school students. They're also going to be giving out thousands of dollars in scholarships. Many of those will benefit community college students.
You know, and I think you're going to have more there than a few. I think you're going to have a few thousand. I mean, Mike Rowe, I mean, a lot of home builders. I know a lot of people who listen to my show. We have this cadre, and I love this sector of home builders, individual companies that are family-run, electricians. You mentioned father, spouse, daughter, son, all in the business. We have a lot of remodelers, builders that listen to the show, and they're huge fans of Mike Rowe. So I think if you get that many companies, but let's go back a little bit and talk about New Hampshire Technical Institute. As President Tompkins, what are the challenges? What are the successes? What are the trends?
Yeah, so, you know, NHTI, Concord's Community Colleges, some people refer to it as the flagship of our system, founded in 1965 and putting out graduates ever since, started in technical fields, particularly with engineering. But we've brought out, and we are now called a comprehensive community college. So we offer short-term credentials. A couple of weeks, you can be a phlebotomist up to an associate degree in nursing.
And afford it.
And affordable. We face two challenges. Well, maybe three. One is, Jack, so you
affordability.
know, one of the challenges we're facing is a demographic decline in New Hampshire. The number of 18-year-olds is declining, and so all of our higher education institutions are grappling with that. Another is
including our flagship universities.
Including our flagship universities. Another is what I call the debasement of higher education. Americans are questioning the value of higher education. Why am I paying this money?
Right.
What am I getting out of it? What are the higher education institutions contributing to our economy, to our state, and to our family? And so those are the things. And then finally, economics. We are cheaper than the four-year school, but we're still a stretch for many families. Fortunately, we certainly have things like the federal Pell Grant. And this year in New Hampshire, the state legislature funded a Promise program, which helps cut the gap in tuition for students who need that assistance.
President Tompkins, NHTA, you said, though, and I think you and I talked about this before we went on, it's not so much people are questioning, and you're the president, so I was smart enough when I was raised by my late grandmother and my mom and my sister after losing my dad young to be respectful, so I'm going to defer to you as president. I don't think it's just so much that they're questioning. I don't think families can afford it. I think when you look at groceries, electric bills, health care bills, rent, affordable housing, and they want their loved one, their kid, to go to a good $30,000 a year college, 4-year college. it's not that they're quite, I don't think they can afford it, especially if you have a couple kids. I mean, how does a family today, President, in all respect, you know this, think about retiring someday, which now with inflation, it takes about $50,000 to $75,000 more a year to retire than your planning did. And you can't finance, let's just say $50,000 a year for 4 years. It's close to $250,000, and still afford to pay for your own health care and retire yourself. So something's got to give.
Yeah, Jack, I'm living it myself. I have an 11-year-old son. I'm never going to be able to retire. What I say to him is he can go to any community college in New Hampshire that he wants to attend. You're talking about $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year for a university, and
that's in-state.
And in-state. And what we see is, if you look at the construction industry and higher education, you talk about the price of groceries. The inflation in higher education is exponentially greater than that.
Yeah.
In the community college system, we've held tuition. We've raised it by $5 in the last 10 years.
I'm not saying you have all the magical crystal, tools. But how do you do it? Because you have to pay teachers. You have to pay cost. You don't have the housing cost per se as much, maybe, if you don't have full-time students. You have some. But how are you able to juggle? And these other universities say, we got to keep raising this. I'm not saying New Hampshire, but typical four-year college because of the cost of living. How are you able to juggle?
So, Jack, you know that I came here from Virginia, was born in Philadelphia. I love New Hampshire. I love how close politics is to the people in New Hampshire. We're a fiscally conservative state. We're a small government state. The state legislature, though, has looked at community colleges and said, hey, there's tremendous value there for New Hampshire. So the reason we're able to keep tuition flat is because the citizens of the Granite State have said, this is worth the investment. And they know that for students to have access, and that could be an 18-year-old student, that could be a 38-year-old student.
Yeah.
For them to have access, it has to be affordable.
Well, I guess I can use one of my own kids as an example. Years ago, attended UNH Durham, then transferred to Plymouth State because of a special education type program. Mm-hmm. But in between, wasn't finding her groove. So she took some time. She went to NHTI. I think it was less than 2 years. She graduated carrying the banner for her program. At commencement, they have one person. Yeah. And I said, hey, you did great. Do you realize that your GPA, your grade, which was about a 4.0, I think it was like 3.9 something, was what my roommate and I in college at UVM got together. If you added up our scores, you did it by yourself. I'm pretty proud. But the point was, it helped put her on a track. And today she's now still working. She actually works for the state and overseeing a lot of the special ed stuff in our public schools because of that experience at New Hampshire Technical Institute. And then you have a school there, like a younger type early learning school. I don't know the name, but on your campus.
Yes. So the Mary Stuart Giles Early Learning Center, which
she
is run
taught
by the
there,
Boys
and now
and
her kid goes there.
There you go. What a great organization run by the Boys and Girls Club, and our early childhood education students do internships there. Yeah,
she's a rock star. I'm a little biased, but she loves your campus, and her 2 days a week, my grandkid goes there in terms of that program. So let's talk about a little bit. We have another minute. We're going to maybe ask you to stick around for a few moments because you're nice enough to come in. Today, President Biden will be at your campus. What time's the event, roughly?
So we expect him to touch down at the airport around 2:40, and the event run from 3 to 4:30 or so.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, what I don't know about this president is whether he's on time. Bill Clinton was famously late to everything.
He was actually a good memory.
We'll see if how Biden.
I actually was a high honor and a privilege because I enjoyed interviewing Bill Clinton more than any of the other sitting presidents I had the opportunity to do in my TV days. And every time, and we used to laugh about it, he'd come in and say, Jack, I'm sorry I'm late again. He was always, he'd get talking to someone, and hey, he's the president. He'd do it. He's the president, right?
That's right.
But what a great event. So that's this afternoon, New Hampshire. Is it open to the public or limited?
This is an invitation-only event. It's being run by the White House. It's a presidential event. He's going to talk about prescription drugs. So we have our president of Student Senate and our president of the PTK Honor Society are going to have an opportunity to meet the president and take a photo. We're just honored that the president of the United States has chosen Concord. And again, I think it's significant that he's chosen a community college.
I agree with you. All right, going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with President Patrick Tompkins, New Hampshire Technical Institute. I'd love to drill down in a moment before we let you go. The particular programs that you're seeing real growth with, and what does it say about the next 5 or 10 years, and what's driving it? What's driving those, like, say, 3 to 5 programs? What ones are maybe not getting the traction that 5 to 10 years ago? What does it tell us about the workforce? All right, we have President Patrick Tompkins. He's the president of New Hampshire Technical Institute. Big day, president's coming this afternoon. You can comment on that. But I wanted to go back. What courses are you seeing that are trending growth, that there's more demand for you to find more professors or more seats because you have more people coming in? What sector are they in? And what does that tell you about the marketplace here?
Yeah, so it's interesting, Jack, because we're seeing this nationally, and then there's a local trend. So the national trend is folks are looking for short-term credentials. They want to get a credential that is industry recognized and that leads right to work and a good-paying job. They're saying to themselves, I don't know if I want to wait 4 years to enter the workforce. And so we're seeing movement away from liberal arts and more towards the trades, the type of thing that we're going to be celebrating at the Bring Back the Trades event. The biggest programs for us are in healthcare, and we have many more students who want to be part of those programs than we can support. In CCSNH, the Community College System of New Hampshire, the number one number of graduates is in the nursing field, and we still can't put out enough. At NHTI, we have the only orthopedic program east of the Mississippi. You get a credential there.
What is that program? What is it?
It is our orthopedic technical program, and you would go and work for a place like Concord Ortho, with whom we have a really good relationship.
As kind of like a PA or a...
You're doing splints, you're doing casts, types of things that you would be supporting an orthopedist to do.
And good. Now, were those in the private sector?
Yep.
Range of someone starting full time is like an assistant ortho is a night. Just put it there roughly. What are we talking like? 70-ish.
Yeah, I don't have. I think they're probably at the entry level starting at 50, and a lot of these are what I call stepping stone jobs. You get in there as an ortho tech,
and then a year and a half, 2 years,
you're moving around,
almost double
to other places. Yeah. So all of our healthcare programs, we have the only dental hygiene program in the state.
Yeah, we've had Tom Raphael talk about that.
Rad Tech, our technological program, as well as our radiation therapy program, and we already mentioned nursing. In our workforce area, we're growing the trades program. So we've added LNA, licensed nurse assistant. We are adding a carpentry program. We've added CDL.
You're a carpentry. That's awesome.
Yeah. So these are good paying jobs, and they're things that folks need. You asked about a change, and here's one area where we need more work, Jack. New Hampshire Technical Institute, you could argue, was founded as an engineering technical college, and we put people out into the economy for decades and decades. We have the jobs and we have the programs. What we're missing in engineering technology are the students.
Really?
So we need to do more, and that's part of why we're doing that Bring Back the Trades event. We need to expose students to what are these good jobs. In manufacturing, you're not in a dirty, smoky, loud environment. You're in clean tech, beautiful walls, beautiful machinery, really good paying jobs, and they're not hard on the body. They require some intelligence. And we need to help students understand that these jobs are available, and you can raise your family and send them to college with it.
Mr. President, before I let you go, one thing that I've often pointed to in commentary on my show is that, no offense to the 4-year undergraduate colleges, let's just take business programs, they require the professor to have certain number of degrees or a master's degree or certain accreditation. I get that to a point, but the high school educated entrepreneur in Manchester, New Hampshire, who's worth $500 million because he or she has created thousands of jobs, couldn't go teach at that school because they may not have the background. So for teachers and professors on these programs, are you getting people that formerly worked in the field? What is the accreditation process? What if you have someone out there listening saying, I worked in aviation for 20 years as a pilot for Delta. I'm living in Guilford, New Hampshire. I'd love to teach if they offer anything. Do you require, is it the same kind of thing for the 4-year undergraduate for your professors or teachers, or do you have like people that come in from the community with the professional background to teach?
Jack, I'm going to have to pay you for the PSA that you just did there. One of the challenges we face is getting faculty to teach in these trades program, and that's a great thing about community college because you are learning from people who are in the field. Let me give you a specific example. One is dental hygiene, and we've many of our faculty graduated from NHTI. Some of them started in dental assisting. Dental hygiene is a great field. Usually you're working 4 days a week. You're getting paid well. It's really hard on the body. And we find some folks later in their career who I want to give back. I want to stay in the field.
I want to stay closer, but
I want to get out of the chair.
So they can teach.
They can teach.
But what if they don't have a master's degree in whatever?
Right. So
say they have a college degree, they work for 24 years.
So for the technical fields, it's really about your technical credentials.
So they come in, get interviewed. Someone would say, you know what, you'd be a great
exactly.
professor.
You know, and so with carpentry, with CDL, right, you have to have your license. With carpentry, if you're a carpenter, yes, we want you in there. And
say you've had a home building business for 30 years, and you want to, speaking of wear and tear in your body, less time with the hammer. Go in and maybe talk about your carpentry program.
Right, and then we provide syllabus and we provide training on how to teach. But they come in with
part-time?
Right, and they come in with the skills that are needed.
And what a better way to feel like you have a purpose.
And give back, right?
Well, I'm delighted you're here, I almost said Professor. Maybe you were at one point. President Patrick Tompkins, you got a busy day when you get back to campus. President Biden on his way, New Hampshire. Technical Institute, one of our great community colleges out there making a huge difference. Real quickly, just curious, how many just total students in this academic year do you have coming and going there?
We have about 2,600.
Awesome. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Jax. Great
nice to meet you in person. One of our regular contributors now, Mike Cody, New Hampshire Business Review, New Hampshire Magazine, joining us with a story about family caregivers in the Granite State, and talking about an AARP, one of our great partners and sponsors, says there are as many as almost 170,000 family caregivers in New Hampshire. So, Mike, it's an interesting discussion and more than we thought. Take it away.
Sure, yeah. AARP has been focusing on trying to get some more attention for family caregivers. One of our reporter editors, Emily Riley,